talked about playing our best football in November, December, right? 3-0 in November. Yeah! 3-0 in November. And now, right, we're getting into December football, right? We got to crank it up a little more, right? We got to enjoy this tonight, but get your minds right for Tennessee. We all got to do this together. And guess what? When you win the turnover battle, what happens? We win the damn game, right? You know what that calls for? A see you Wednesday!
You're listening to the Colts Blue Zone Podcast with Mike Chappell and Dave Griffiths.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Colts Blue Zone Podcast. I'm Matt Adams here with a recap of the Colts and their 27-20 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Some of the themes here, some clever fourth down calls from the Colts, some key turnovers that the defense have forced, and a running game that it was able to seal the win for the team. The Colts moved to 6-5 on the season. If the playoffs started today, Indy would be the last team in, but let us remind you that the playoffs do not, in fact, start today. That is not how things work in the NFL or sports in general. Now, the Colts have won 2 more games than last season. They've now won 3 in a row after a 3-game losing streak following the injury that cost Anthony Richardson the rest of his season. Their remaining schedule, we're not allowed to look ahead, but you know what? Or the team's not allowed to look ahead, but we are. And their remaining schedule has several winnable games left on it. So, you know, it's going to be kind of a race to the finish line here in the AFC. They got some breaks yesterday with Buffalo losing and also the Texans losing. So, you know, it's not a lock, it's not a certainty, but the fact that we are talking about the possibility of playoff football this far into the season just kind of shows you how much things have changed under head coach Shane Steichen. Now, the Colts only won their second home game of the year, so they've got to be a little bit better at home. We had said that, and we were a little bit worried, but they've kind of played flat at home, but they got a good start in this one. Well, it wasn't a really great start, I suppose. Tampa marched right down the field on the first drive. They got the ball down to the 1. The Colts got some breaks there, though. They stopped Baker Mayfield on a quarterback sneak to try to get the ball in. He injured his ankle and had to leave the game. The Buccaneers then had a false start penalty. That kind of, hurt that drive there. They weren't able to get into the end zone. And I will say that while he also had some moments that weren't so great in this game and has had moments that aren't so great in the season, Darrell Baker Jr. had a really nice pass breakup on that first drive to kind of get things going and hold the Buccaneers to a field goal. Now, the real key for me here was the Colts were 3 for 4 on fourth down. 2 of the conversions led to touchdowns. A third also almost led to points. Matt Gay missed a field goal from 58 yards. It was close. He had good leg on it, had more than enough leg to get there. The problem is it hit the upright. It hit the part of the upright where the ball bounces out instead of sometimes where you get the carom between the uprights, and that was right before halftime. So 3 of their 4 conversions, could have led to points, but only 2 here, but 2 of them led to touchdowns. The only non-conversion was a fourth down pass to Josh Downs that fell incomplete. Honestly looked like they had little chance of picking up that particular play there. The ball was thrown short of the sticks. Downs was not able to catch it, and he had a couple of defenders on him. So, maybe a great individual effort. He's able to get that one. I don't think that he would have. And that was at the Colts' own the Buccaneers 40-yard line when that happened. Now, that did lead directly to a Buccaneers touchdown as Tampa, facing a 10-point deficit, ended up going for it on 4th and 10 on their own drive and converting it. That drive ended with Baker Mayfield finding a wide-open Mike Evans to make it 20-17 at the time. Kind of interesting. I mean, the Colts, we'll go over some of the stats and things, and the Colts really dominated this game for the most part. They were thoroughly in control of this game. And if they hadn't made a couple of different little decisions or mistakes, then it may not have been such a close football game. Now, they were able to close it out, get a 10-point lead with just a few minutes left, and really were able to close the door on Tampa with closing the door with a good touchdown drive, closing the door with a defensive play at the end to get a sack, strip, and a fumble recovery. So they were able to do some of the things that they've struggled to do the last couple seasons as far as closing things out. But because of some of the Colts' charity work here, Tampa Bay was the beneficiary. The first one followed an interception. The Colts thoroughly in control here. They're at 17-7, and they get 17-3. They get another score. And really, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Tampa to get back into this game. And it looked like Minshew and Josh Downs had a miscommunication. Minshew thought Downs was going to go out for the ball. Downs decided to sit inside for the ball. So when Minshew threw with anticipation, there was no receiver there except for the Buccaneers, who were able to intercept that ball. And then that led to their first touchdown. And again, Mike Evans wide open in a miscommunication in the secondary, it looked like, on that one, which again is something we've seen this season. And Mike Evans is the biggest offensive threat that the Bucs have. So you just wonder how that is a thing that even happens. But it does happen from time to time. You have a breakdown. You have things that don't necessarily go your way. Their second touchdown, as we talked about, with the 4th and 6 that the Colts tried to convert to at the Buccaneers 40. They were not able to get that one to Downs to pick up the first down in that particular case. That gave Tampa pretty good field position there, and it allowed them to get another touchdown. But they did have to convert a 4th and 10, and I think the most distressing thing about 4th and 10, while the Colts had 6 sacks in this game and they were able to pressure Baker Mayfield a lot of the time, they still struggled in key situations to either send an extra guy or get pressure from their front four. And on a 4th and 10 situation, they didn't really accelerate the clock in Mayfield's head. He was able to get that conversion, and then that led to their touchdown. It made the game pretty tight at that time. Now, again, when it comes to the 4th down calls, you'll take the good with the bad. Steichen's just going to do it. It's just part of his DNA. It's in the guy's gut to be aggressive, and that's one of his pillars, is we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be relentless, and that's why you see the Colts kind of do these things. And they've been, they've not been the best in the league at it by any stretch of the imagination, but boy, a couple of those calls that they had on 4th down that were absolutely game breakers really did it for them. One of them was kind of an RPO play where they faked the handoff. Minshew sort of drifted out to his left, and then, Michael Pittman Jr. faked a block, and then he got downfield. There was nobody there, and he picks up 24 yards to get a first down on like a 4th and 1 type of play. And then the second one was just really an absolute thing of beauty. The Colts facing a 4th and inches. They brought on Zaire Franklin, their leading tackler, their really, really good linebacker, kind of as a fullback in this play. I think that kind of got Tampa out of sorts a little bit here. And, they're thinking this is going to be a straight-up run. They're just going to run Jonathan Taylor up the middle. And, what they do is they fake the pass. They fake the run again. Mo Alley Cox running wide open over the middle of the field. And Minshew just kind of aims that ball a little bit. Just, he's so safe with that throw to try to make sure that he gets it. So Mo Alley Cox gets 30 yards on that fourth down play, and that does lead later to another Jonathan Taylor run and a touchdown for the Colts, and that effectively seals the game there. I mean, the Bucs added a field goal late, and they did get the ball back with a chance to maybe try to tie it up, but the Colts were able to shut the door on them in this game. But boy, those 4th down plays were really something, and even the one that they didn't get any points from. The one that led to the long field goal attempt that Matt Gay couldn't quite nail down, was a nice, it was a 4th and 3, and I think they hit Pittman on a 6-yard pass. So, it's a different culture here for the Colts, and let's hear from head coach Shane Steichen.
Real quick, no injuries for you guys. Came out clean. Great team win. I mean, huge to get to 6-5. And then heading in, obviously, to a division game next week against Tennessee will be big. But huge team win. Defense came up big there at the end with the sack fumble. Offense did a good job moving the ball in that first half, getting 17 points, and then finding a way, obviously, at the end, 4 minute to put it out. So good team win.
You went for it on 4th down 4 times. What went into the aggressiveness there?
Just feeling it in the game. There's no, just hey, here's what we're doing in this situation, and we went for it.
You had that play in your pocket, the 4th and 1 play.
Put it in this week. Actually, our tight end coach, Tommy, he came to me with the idea, and we were doing our short yardage meeting, and I said, "Shoot, that looks pretty good. That looks like a walk-in touchdown. Let's have that one up for sure." And said, "Who we want at the fullback spot?" We went back and forth, and I said, "Let's put Z in there at fullback," and they gave us the look, and it worked.
What about his reaction to being put in at fullback? Like, was he?
Oh, no, I hit him up during the week. I said, "Hey, you're coming in on power. You're going to block inside out on power." He goes, "What? No, I'm fast to the flat." And I'm like, no. No. You're going to block power first and then maybe something down the road. But, no, it was awesome to see. It was a huge play.
Did you think about going hurry up and keeping that personnel on the field?
No, I felt good about that call. We just were waiting for the right time to call it, and it came up in a big-time situation, and we went for it and hit it.
What about the early one to Pitt? You guys, play action with Zach, and then he slips out.
Yeah, no, it worked good. That's all I got for you. It was a good play.
Ronnie Harrison obviously got elevated last week, comes in, gets a pick. How big of an impact was that, and just what have you seen from him?
Yeah, no doubt. It's huge. Obviously, getting in the system, learning the system, and then obviously getting a lot of action out there today, and then to come up with that pick. That came from the preparation. Guys were wired up on that play. I heard everyone calling it out. It was awesome to see the deep over, and he got underneath it and made the pick, so it was big.
You have had some struggles moving the ball the last couple of games. Today, I think almost 400 yards of offense. Why the difference, do you think?
I mean, if I had the answer for you, I'd tell you. I mean, you always try to go out there and have that type of performance moving the football. But, we played well. Guys went out there, played hard, and we made plays today.
Vita Vea is one of the better run-defending, defensive tackles in the league. To have Wesley play the way he did and to be able to run the ball the way you're able to do against a front with that guy, what does that say about the O-line as a whole?
It was big. I mean, Wesley, I'll say this about Wesley. He loves ball. He loves ball. He's prepared. He prepares every week. And when he gets his opportunity, and he's had his opportunity a few times to go in there and play, and he fights and scratches and claws. And, it's a testament to him, a testament to Tony, our line coach, getting those guys ready to go every week.
What do you think has kind of gotten into Dio just the past month or so? I mean, he's played well for a while, but really has turned it on.
Yeah, he's definitely turned it on. He's making a ton of plays. He's always around the quarterback. Nate Ollie, our D-line coach, does a heck of a job with those guys. Matt Raish. But Dio's playing at a high level right now. We just got to keep going in that direction.
How refreshing is it to see the defense come out on top and make those game-sealing plays like Samson strip sack?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Anytime you have an opportunity to go end it, whether it's on offense or defense, you get the strip sack fumble right there, Samson getting that done, and then getting the recovery. And then obviously on the flip side of finishing the game out in a 4-minute situation, they got 3 timeouts. We got to get a first down, to end the game. And obviously staying in bounds, good job by JT getting the first and going down to end it was huge.
JT and Zach set the tone just from the backfield.
It was huge. I know we came out throwing it there early a good amount, and then it settled into the run game. But JT popped a few big ones. Zach popped a few. It was good. That 1-2 punch back there is awesome.
Did you think you had some matchups that allowed you to come out and go with the pass so heavy early on?
Yeah, there were some certain things. We, obviously you have an idea of what you think they're going to play. And like I said, I got a ton of respect for Todd. And, you never know, until you get out there and just kind of seeing the different stuff they're going to do from a front standpoint and a back end standpoint with the coverages. And a few things, we hit. Another few things he did a good job at disguising. But it was good. I thought our guys, like I said, moved the ball. We got to clean some things up, too. We had some penalties that we got to get cleaned up there. But overall, just a great team win.
Getting this win after the bye week, now 3 straight wins, and it was a full team effort. You've been preaching complimentary football. How does this win help propel you into the next 6?
I think it's big. Obviously, playing your best football in November and December to give yourself a chance there to get in is huge. But we got to take it one game at a time. And obviously going, having a division opponent on the road with Tennessee coming up. Got a lot of respect for them. But we got to prepare the right way and be ready to go.
Touchdown drive, delivering in a moment like that, is that the kind of thing that helps an offense grow?
Say that again, the touchdown drive?
The final touchdown drive, delivering in a moment like that, how much does that help the offense grow?
Yeah, no, it's huge. I think any time you can create a big play, like you hit the big play, to Mo Alley right there, you get a ton of momentum. I mean, that stuff's real in football. It's real. But it was huge to finish that deal off there with a touchdown.
So that's head coach Shane Steichen. One thing notable about a couple notable things he said, the Colts came into this game with a couple of injuries. Ryan Kelly didn't play at center, so Wesley French filled in. And then they also were missing Juju Brents again. But no additional injuries coming out of this game. We'll see how things go, during practice for the next week as the Colts prepare for the Titans. The other thing, that play that they ran to Mo Alley Cox is something you see a lot in goal line situations, and they decided to run it, more toward the middle of the field type of deal here in field position. And it really worked well. But it's something that they installed this week. And the tight ends coach, Tom Manning, had approached Steichen and come up with this idea to kind of run this play. And they got a situation that they liked. They got a look that they liked. And I think everybody knew once they lined up and they saw the defense was where it was, kind of in this goal line situation to try to gum up the middle, that they were able to get that ball downfield to Mo Alley Cox and really make a nice play there. So, it's interesting, the chess match and the schematic advantage that Shane Steichen can give you, especially when things are really rolling for the Colts. On offense, Gardner Minshew, 24 for 41, 251 yards, no TDs, one interception, had a couple of sacks. He did have a rushing touchdown, though. Just not a lot. They got some explosive plays in the passing game on the fourth down plays to Pittman, and it was not like a banner day for Gardner. I don't like the fact that he threw the ball, I think, 25 times in the first half. But I know what the philosophy was there. The Colts came into this game thinking and knowing that Tampa had a pretty stout run defense up the middle, so they didn't think they would have an advantage there trying to use their running game early. So they were trying to pass to kind of set up the run to loosen things up. But, man, it really made things difficult for them at times. But again, they had a good game. They were able to get beyond that. Jonathan Taylor, really nice game. 15 carries, 91 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Really the bell cow today. 6.1 yards per carry there. Zach Moss popped a couple of nice runs too. 8 carries for 55 yards. We're starting to see where the split's going. Heavily tilted toward Jonathan Taylor, especially when he's getting going. But Zach Moss, almost 7 yards a carry there. Gardner Minshew, 3 runs for 6 yards, including a touchdown. And then Isaiah McKenzie had a run for 3 yards. From a receiving standpoint, it was all about Michael Pittman Jr. 10 catches, 107 yards on 13 targets. Pitt, just the man yesterday, making the tough catches, getting key catches when they needed them, getting up and getting the ball, and just honestly, I was watching the game with my family yesterday, and I just kind of told my brother, man, they're just going to have to put Michael Pittman Jr. in a vat of ice after this game because he took some pretty nasty hits. But you know what? That's what he does. Josh Downs, 5 catches for 43 yards. Mo Alley Cox, that big catch for 30 yards on that fourth down. Will Mallory, a couple catches for 29 yards. Alec Pierce, 4 catches for 27 yards on 6 targets. So, we'd like to see a little bit more from Alec. You do see him getting a little bit more into this game here, and it's sort of unfortunate that Minshew does not have that big arm to get the ball downfield consistently with the way that Alec Pierce's game is really, go routes, get down there, get the ball up and try to high point it and catch it, and that's just really not Minshew's game. And you really felt like maybe with Anthony Richardson and Pierce that they were developing something there, but they didn't quite, just quite a bit different there with Gardner Minshew at the helm. And you know what? Let's hear from Gardner about Sunday's win.
Lets it hang, That's what you want. A coach that'll trust you to put you in those situations. He can be aggressive, but I think that comes out of trust. And, it's good when you have a coach that trusts you like that and you want to do everything you can to pay him back for it.
When you came up, you had the big play to Pitt and then the big one to Mo. When you were at the line of scrimmage, did you feel like, okay, we've got the right look for these?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Had very specific looks for both those that we wanted, and got them at the right time, and we were able to execute. It was awesome.
Getting the win coming off the bye, how big is this for this team?
It's huge, I think from here on out, we're kind of in that playoff mentality. We have everything we want in front of us, but we just got to take it one game at a time. And we just continue to build and continue to get better. I think we're still getting better, figuring some things out. I think we'll like where we're at.
You guys obviously passed a lot more than you ran today, but the run game was pretty efficient. Do you guys have a feeling that you could run the ball against Tampa, which has a pretty good run defense?
Yeah, I think with the guys we have up front, with the guys we have in the backfield, we always feel pretty good about it. I think we have an elite rushing group when we're at our best, and we saw some of that today. I think the plan today was to throw it a little bit more, but man, we couldn't have done it without those guys running the way they did.
The offense moved the ball a lot better today, put a lot more points on the board than the last few games. What was the difference?
I don't know. We were able to hit some more explosives today. The tempo was working good. Again, we were running the ball really well. We'll have to really get back on film, but a lot of good things and still a lot we can clean up. I think the ceiling's a lot higher for this group.
I heard Meek Mill again. What was the vibe in the locker room when you guys got off the field?
It's like a Meek Mill vibe, pretty much. Everybody's pretty excited. It's probably coming from Zaire, some type of Philly connection there. But, nah, man, it's awesome. I think the feeling in the locker room is so great right now. Everybody's just united and trying to win and trying to get this thing done.
I felt like you and him had a good connection today, 10 catches for him, and he was going up and getting them. What's it like just putting it anywhere close and he could get it?
Yeah, I think as we continue to grow, we continue to build trust with each other. I trust him to go, make the plays, and he's been doing it. So just continuing to, build. There's still some things we're figuring out, and man, he had a great day today, and excited for him.
Ronnie Harrison to go from practice squad a few days ago to getting an interception today. What's the most incredible part of his story in your eyes?
Oh man. That's the thing, this league is tough, and it gets kind of lonely. You start out somewhere and you're doing really well, and then you might kind of get lost in the mix, get bounced around. But then you pop up and have an opportunity like he had today, and he made the most of it. That's so much fun. I couldn't be more happy for him and our team in general, I guess.
That was Indianapolis Colts quarterback Gardner Minshew talking about the 27-20 win by his Indianapolis Colts over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting at Lucas Oil Stadium. All right, some quick defensive statistics here. Zaire Franklin led Colts tacklers with 70. Jay Speed had 6. DeForest Buckner, Jalen Jones, Julian Blackmon had 5 tackles each. 6 total sacks for the unit. Samson Ebukam with 2. Kwity Paye, Isaiah Land, and Taekwon Lewis credited with 1 each. Dayo Odengbo and Adesamoah Adebare each had half a sack as well in this game. Of course, Ebukam had the big one there at the end with the sack strip, and Odengbo able to pounce on that ball and effective in the game there for the Colts. Ronnie Harrison Jr. had an interception in his first game with the team. I should note, I was surprised, and I don't know how to feel still about the Shaq Leonard stuff in many respects, but it was pretty cool that the Colts did a video tribute to Shaq yesterday, and that they also had invited him to the game, and he showed up with his family. And it's an awkward situation, and it's tough, but it's a classy move by the organization, and then very classy for Shaq to accept that invitation and show up and come to the game. And then, pretty much right after they showed that tribute, Harrison got his early interception there that set up the Colts for a score. And, as I mentioned earlier, the Colts dominated this game in many facets. They held the edge in first downs, total plays, yards per play. They were +1 in the turnover margin. They were better in offensive yards, 394, almost 400 total yards for the Colts, and they held Tampa Bay to under 300 yards of total offense with 298. They won in time of possession, and they were more efficient in the red zone. Now, the Bucs did hold a couple of things in an edge. They had fewer assessed penalties and fewer yards and penalties, while the Colts had a couple of really untimely ones, and, really do penalties come in any other way. Tampa also better on third down, 5 for 13, that's about 38%, and the Colts were 2 for 11 for 18% on third down. And because of some of the situations where they were not able to convert those third downs, the Colts did go for it 4 times on fourth down, and they were 3 for 4 on fourth down, so 75% conversion rate there. You would love to not have to do that, but I tell you what, with some of the play calls that they made and some of the plays they were able to make and get points out of those fourth down conversions, you really can't argue with that too much. I mean, they were able to score 14 points off of going for those fourth down conversions. A couple things that, also caught my eye. The Colts losing Mike Evans on both of his TD catches, and I just don't understand, again, how that necessarily can happen with a guy who's their best offensive player. For the most part, I mean, it wasn't a huge day for Evans. Fantasy owners would, of course, be happy with the couple of touchdowns, but he only had 6 catches for 70 yards. But the problem is 2 of those catches were for touchdowns. Not a whole lot else going on. Chris Godwin, just 3 catches for 45 yards. Cade Otton, 4 catches for 45 yards. Payne Durham, I just wanted to mention this guy from Purdue, 1 catch for 12 yards, and man, it was quite a catch. Baker Mayfield was rushed a little bit, so he tried to get this ball over toward the sideline, and he just, Darrell Baker Jr., just not quite tall enough against Payne Durham there to prevent that catch from happening. Payne Durham goes up, gets the ball there for Tampa. So, you have some good. You had that pass that Baker broke up in the end zone there in the first quarter in the very first offensive drive for the Bucs. But then, you have a couple other plays here where maybe it doesn't quite get, right aligned for a tackle and that sort of thing. So good with the bad. We've seen it all this time with this secondary. So, that should just about wrap things up for this edition of the Colts Blue Zone podcast. The Colts play the Tennessee Titans next, and that is a road game. So the Colts had their only home win earlier this season before the Tampa game against the Titans. So we'll see if they can get another win here, and that would put them at 7-5. And really, if they want to, they're not going to win out. I don't think. I mean, crazier things have happened, right? But this team is kind of one where you see a game that you're not necessarily sure they should win, and then somehow they win that game. And then you look at a game that you think that they should have, that not that it's a lock or anything, but that the Colts have a good chance of winning, and then, they don't pull it off. That's kind of what we've seen this year. It's been a hard team to predict from week to week. Like, you kind of know what the general performance is going to be from the team, but you don't necessarily know what the result's going to be. Where are those big plays going to come from? Or is the defense going to be able to get stopped? That sort of thing. And so it's hard to say. But we will break down the Tennessee Titans. We'll be seeing a different quarterback this time. We'll be seeing Will Levis for the Titans this time as the Colts hit the road. And Dave Griffiths and Mike Chappell and I will have a complete preview. We'll break it all down, and they'll also offer their thoughts on the 6-5 Colts winning their 3rd straight game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For the Colts Blue Zone podcast, I'm Matt Adams.